It's time for another Dice Tower review with Tim Jennette.
Hey everyone, this is Tim Jennette the Metal Meeple, and in this video we're taking a look at Unearth. Not the metal band if you happen to know who they are, but Unearth the board game, published by Brotherwise Games in 2017. For 2 to 4 players, takes about 30 to 60 minutes. It was designed by Jason Harner and Matthew Ransom, and it was illustrated by Jesse Riggle and David Pietrandrea. I apologize, I butchered your name. Anyway, Unearth is a simple game where you have a bunch of dice and you're going to roll them onto different rune cards in the middle and try to take them. Ruin cards, not rune cards. And basically what's cool is that each die, you have a 4-sided die, 6-sided die, and 8-sided die, multiple 6-sided dice. But the lower you roll, you actually get to take stones, in which case you try to build like honeycomb patterns on your board, like little circles, and put wonders in place of them in the center. But if you roll high, you actually get to take that ruin card if the card breaks its threshold. So it doesn't really make sense to you right now, but let me show you how it plays. We'll come back and I'll tell you what my thoughts are. So here we have the basic setup for Unearth for a 3-player game. There's only a few differences depending on the player count. One, the wonders that you place up here is equal to the number of players plus 2. And this Ruins deck, you're going to put out 5 in a 3 and 4 player game, but only 4 of them in a 2-player game. In addition to that, 5 of these get burned in a 3 and 4 player game, and 10 of them get burned in a 2-player game. Each player is going to start with 2 of these special ability cards called the Delver deck, basically. They're small little minor special abilities. We'll get into those. Each player is also going to receive 1 card from the top of this deck at random. Down here we have the lesser and greater ruins that are worth various points. They're just like wonders. They're just like these wonders, but these are always in the game. The wonders at top are randomly drawn from a deck of wonders. You can see there's plenty of them. Normally all these tokens we would put on the cards themselves, but just for purpose of me picking them up, I didn't do so. Each of the named wonders there's only 1 copy of, since there's only 1 token for it, but there are multiples for the lesser and greater. Each player receives a handful of dice. You got 3 6-sided die, an 8-sided, and a 4-sided die. And just to show you, there's a bag that you're going to draw all these tokens from. These are stones. So to start the game, each one of these ruins have a number at the bottom right. Just to show you closer, this one has 3. You're going to draw 3 random stones and place them on this card. This top number is the threshold. Whenever this is reached with the dice on it, it's gonna score. So let me just show you a few turns here. Let's say we begin as the blue player. And the blue player, there's 2 sections to your turn. The first part of your turn is the Delver phase. During the Delver phase is when you can play these small cards here. This one, such as Lost in the Ruins. Reroll any 1 die already on a ruin. Can be yours or somebody else. Anytime somebody else's die is targeted, they get to reroll it, not you. Just a minor ability thing in the rulebook. And you may choose where to place your excavation roll after you roll. We're not going to play these right now. We're going to go on to the excavation part of our phase, where we choose a die and we select which ruin we're going after. We have to commit to it first, unless we play that card we just had that allows us to select afterwards. I'm going to roll this die, and I've got a 3. Now, lower numbers aren't bad, and higher numbers aren't bad, so it's kind of both ways. If you roll 1, 2, or 3 and place it on a card, you get to take 1 of the stones that are on it and place it in your tableau. This can never be moved, so as you gain stones, they're going to go next to each other. And the reason you want to do this and gain stones is because you're trying to create a circle. When you create a circle, you get to select a wonder to place in the middle of it. Most of the time, you're going to get these lesser wonders, which are worth 2 to 4 points. They say so on the back of the different chips here, and they're shuffled randomly, so you don't know which one you're getting. This requires you to have 6 stones in a circle of any color in any combination. The greater wonder has to be 6 of a kind, and they're worth 6 to 8 points. The named wonders, such as the harmonious columns, you have to have 3 red and then 3 of any color in any combination, and that will give you 2 points at the end of the game, but it also gives you the special ability. You may give any die roll you roll a -1, pretty much giving you a greater chance to get stones. So you can see the D8, you really want a high number on the D8 because this is going to allow you to capture. So let's just say we rolled a 6. That would be the end of my turn. It's going to be the next player's turn. Let's say red goes. They're going to roll a d6. They're going to target this green card as well. They rolled a 1, so they get this black stone. Just knocked everything over. Green's going to go. Say he really wants to go after that green card. He rolls, gets a 4. Obviously, some of the players might play some of these Delver cards in their turn as well, but it's okay. So we can see the total is 6, 10, 11. And say I go, at the beginning of my turn, I'm going to choose this card right here that reroll any 1 die already on a ruin. I'm going to have that red player reroll his dice, or his die. So now we've got 10, we got 14, that's pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and roll this d6 on that green, and I rolled a 6. Anytime a die has been placed or re-rolled or whatever, there's some cards in here that'll give negative or plus numbers to the die rolls and such. Whenever the threshold is equaled or exceeded, that card's immediately going to score. In this case, the total is 12 plus 8, we got 20. That card's going to score. And the way that it scores, it's not whoever rolled the last die, it's whoever has the highest number is going to win. In case of a tie, let's just say it was swapped kind of like this. In case of a tie, whoever has the bigger die is going to win. So between red and blue, blue has the bigger die. He's going to win this card. Now say that was also a D6. Now we have a tie between red and blue because it's the same side dice, or same sided dice with the same number. It's going to go on to the second die. In this case, red doesn't have a die, so he's got 0, whereas blue has 4. Blue's going to win this card, and he's going to collect the card, but every player that has a die here is also going to receive a Delver card from the Delver deck for each die they have on that card. So red's going to receive 1, and so will green. At that point, these dice get removed and placed back into their owner's pool. All the stone tokens that are on here get discarded, and this card will go into the blue player's ruins that he's collected face down. We're going to flip another one over. We're going to populate this card with 3 stones because at the bottom right it says 3. And we're going to continue play. And this is going to happen until this ruins deck has been depleted all the way to this final card. When this final card gets revealed, sometimes it's going to be a special ability that happens. Sometimes it's going to be a bigger amount of stones and worth a lot of points and such. This one, +1 to all dice rolled for the rest of the game. Say it looked kind of like this. In this case, we would keep going until all these cards have been claimed, and that's going to be the end of the game. Now, once the game ends, you're going to go on to scoring, and you can see from our little chart here, this is what you get points for. So the runes cards that you have, you're going to get points for sets. If you have multiple of the same card, let's say I had these 3 right here, I would get 12 points. And if I had this single green, I would get 2 points. And on top of that, you can use the card for both the number of cards and for this set collection. So if you have all 5 colors of ruins, you would get a bonus 5 points for every set of that you would have. And then you would have +5 points for if you had 3 or more wonders in your tableau down here. And that's and you get bonus points from any of the named wonders up here and the wonders down here. In addition to this, if you had 3 or more. So whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. Lastly, to clarify a few questions you may have. 1, if you want to roll a die and you don't have any left in your reserve, you must pick up a die from one of the ruins and roll that one. In addition to that, if you can't break a tie on a ruins card, say both players had a d6 and neither of them had a second die, that card's actually burned and discarded. No one gets it. The tokens are still removed and a new ruins card comes out. The stone circles that you're building down here can be used to build multiple. See how I have 1 completed circle, I have a lesser wonder in there, and then I started one over here using the wall of this one. So you can do that honeycomb shape construction. Lastly, I just want to show you some of the cards in each deck. This is the Delver deck. We have different things here, like this is the next d6 rolled gets +2, give the next die rolled this turn +1 or -1, reroll any 1 die on a ruin, +2 on a die that's already on a ruin, give the next die +1, -1. You can see most of these, there's a bunch of each in here. Choose a number, reroll all dice showing that number. That one's pretty fun because there's tons of dice out on these ruins. and you say like 3, then all kinds of dice gets re-rolled possibly. So re-roll all of your dice. There's a whole bunch of them. This is a pretty big deck of cards. Like I said, the wonders, there's plenty of them to choose from, and they all have different special abilities. At the end of the game, 1 point for every blue stone. There's pretty much one of these for each color. When you roll the D8, you may give it +1. Makes your D8 very powerful on taking over things. At the end of the game, score +2 for each stone of the same type you have the least of. Draw a random rune from the ruins that were removed from the game and add it to your hidden scoring. So, a bunch of these here. And lastly, we have the end game cards. There's a bunch of these. I think maybe 1 or 2 of these are promos. I can't remember. But you can see like the last one that would add +1 to all dice rolled for the rest of the game. This one would add a player claims this rune when 3 other dice show consecutive numbers. So a small straight basically, and it's worth 5. It still gets runes on here. There's a couple different, or stones, sorry. Each player draws 3 cards from the Delver deck when this is revealed. This one, -1 to all dice rolled for the rest of the game. This one's worth -4 points, but remember, all cards have to be claimed before the end of the game happens, and you must always roll on your excavation phase. So everybody wants to start rolling their D4s on that one. Draw 2 or more end of age cards and play them both. That one's pretty fun. And the crazy City of Gold that's worth 7 points. So just wanted to show you a lot of the different cards in the different decks. Let's talk about what I think. And there you go, that is Unearth gameplay. I will start off with the disclaimer that I received this as a review copy from Brotherwise Games, so keep that in mind as I tell you my thoughts. First thing I'm going to start with is the artwork is awesome. This is a fantastic time to release artwork that looks like this because of the popularity of like games like Minecraft and things like that. I just think that for this kind of artwork to be in a board game is incredibly valuable to the gaming community because it's gonna transition well to video gamers and bring them into the board games solely on the art alone, much like Boss Monster did for him as well because of the pixel art and everything. The first thing I'm going to give a slight I don't understand is that you start with 1 ruin card given to you at random, and I don't necessarily know if I like that because there's only so many of each color, and if you happen to get one and then the cards that are burned from the ruin deck before you start happen to be the rest of that color, other players start with like slight advantage. Doesn't mean it's going to play out well for them because they may not get a lot of that card or whatever. It's just, I don't understand why you start with one. That's just one thing that I was kind of like, that's kind of interesting. Other than that, whatever. I will say that the wonders are really fun to build. You're grabbing all those stones and you're putting them in little circles and honeycomb patterns so you can share walls and stuff like that. I kind of wish you could build more throughout the game, but the game isn't that long, so it's okay that you're not. I don't know, I kind of got this weird imbalance of, I kind of want more, but it's okay the way it is now. So it's just pretty interesting because I like that aspect of the game, but I think it more focuses on rolling dice and putting them on the ruins themselves. The dice rolling, by the way, is awesome. I really like that because in a lot of games, you always want one result. You want highest number or lowest number or whatever. In this game, it's like you don't really, well, sometimes you might not want low or high, but in most cases, it's cool that it benefits you both ways. You roll low, you're going to get stones to build wonders, but if you roll high, you have a better chance at taking over the ruins. So what's cool is like you get a really high number on there, then you're like, sweet, now you start rolling some low dice on there just so you can grab the stones off of it, and it gives you some tiebreakers and such. So pretty neat, I like that. I also like that whenever a ruin gets claimed, that you don't just get nothing for it if you've committed dice to it. Now obviously you should have maybe gotten some stones, but you also get action cards or Delver cards if somebody else wins that card. So I thought that was pretty neat as well. And yeah, I think the game overall, the length, the downtime is incredibly low, which is something I really like. I mean, if you're not playing a lot of those Delver cards, your turn can be really fast, and you're not really waiting, even in a 4-player game, for the turn to get back around to you. And even if you are waiting just a slight bit of time between each player's turn when they're playing all these cards, it's fun to watch people reroll dice, or get you to reroll dice, or add dice here and there and stuff like that, because you may actually benefit from it more than they do when they win it. So it's just really neat the way the game works out. It's very, very light and entertaining, but it has a little bit of strategy and depth going on. It's got an equal amount of strategy and depth for the length of the game, and I really appreciate that about the game. So again, the artwork is amazing. I liked Boss Monster. I didn't really get into it like some people. Those people are going crazy with that game. This game I'm incredibly happy about playing. I thought it was going to be kind of interesting. A lot of people kind of said Splendor. I'm like, how Splendor? Because there's colors, right? Anyway, it's just a really good gateway game for a lot of people. It's probably like on the top end of gateway games. So it's good enough to present this to people who are non-gamers, but it might be better for the people who want to become gamers, who are interested in board gaming. So very, very fun game. I highly recommend it pretty much for anyone. And man, really good game. Congrats. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Send me an email at timjennette@gmail.com. Post on my social media at the handle below. Follow me or listen to my podcast called Meeple Core. And until next time, keep on rocking and rolling dice.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.